What's up, everybody? This video is about why you shouldn't care if people think you're crazy. A lot of times, people think any idea that's different from theirs or any idea that hasn't been basically approved by the media or approved by their culture, approved by um, certain kind of people, if they have a different idea that kind of goes outside of the cultural norm or whatever, people think the idea is crazy. And, you know, it's like this. If you believe in multiple dimensions, like maybe, or um, multiple universes or stuff like that, people in the mainstream media or whatever, or the church or whoever hasn't approved that idea, then most people are going to think you're crazy. If you believe in UFOs before the news, the media says it's acceptable to believe that, then people are going to think you're crazy. If you have a different spiritual belief system, then people are going to think you're crazy. I mean, it goes on and on. It's like I've always been into sci-fi, and I've always believed in artificial intelligence. And when you want to talk about artificial intelligence back in the 90s or the early 2000s, you're crazy. So a lot of times, anytime you could be like more advanced than some people, or more, and you could be right about a lot of things, but if that hasn't been approved by powerful people, then most people are going to think you're crazy. So you have to be secure in whatever you believe in your ideas and not need validation, from other people. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's like virtual reality now. You want to talk about things like that, you're crazy. It's like so many conspiracy theories were true and are true. It's like the Lablik theory. You were crazy if we're talking about that. You were crazy if, there's so many things that people would tell you you're crazy. And then a lot of times people be believing crazy things, and but they feel secure because in those ideas, because they got the approval from people in suits and stuff, or people with wealth. And so, and then they learn, oh, actually that wasn't true. You know what I mean? So a lot of times people just aren't humble. They want to believe they're right about stuff. And so it's like 3D printers. Like, I was talking about 3D printers or stuff like that, psychedelics before mainstream media says it's good, then you're not crazy. You know what I mean? So a lot of times I think you just have to be secure in what you know and what you believe, even if a lot of people haven't caught on. And maybe you're wrong. That's okay. Being wrong about stuff don't mean you're crazy. It just means you're wrong. A lot of people are wrong. And a lot of people just aren't self-aware enough to realize, to see their own craziness, and and as long as they get approved by people with money, or power, then they feel secure. And the people that don't get approved feel insecure because they they want the validation of the government, and they want but sometimes you're not going to get it, you know what I mean? And then you'll get it later, after people like kind of like shit on you for years, and and then they forget they shitted on you for so many years. So, you know. So if people think you're crazy, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, if you're not like everybody, like the majority of people, people would think you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen so many, I just, like, over the years, seen so many examples of, like, it's like, there are people talking about, you know, reality being a hologram, you know, and different stuff like that. And they were just kind of considered bonkers back in the 90s, 2000, completely bonkers. Now you have some of the most brilliant scientists saying that about reality. So it's kind of like, sometimes, you know, if you understand things before the majority of people have caught on, people don't are gonna are gonna kind of think you're crazy, because it's easier for them to think you're crazy than think they're wrong, or to think that you know something that they don't know. You know, because that's just how the human ego is. And you know, a lot of times we're all kind of like that. Sometimes people more than others. You know what I mean? So, and people, you know, they kind of demonize things that they don't understand. And we hate to kind of like, we hate to accept that we don't understand things. So, you know, it's easier like to attack other people, or to admit our weaknesses or whatever, or our perceived weaknesses. You know what I mean? So like, our information about reality is always changing and everything. What seems crazy one minute can be accepted as the truth. One time there's certain things that are accepted as truth, and we realize, oh, actually that's wrong. You know what I mean? It's you know, I'm like, we all have to kind of be humble and realize we don't know everything, and then be open. You know what I mean? Be open, because a lot of times things that seem like crazy conspiracies, it's a crazy conspiracy, are true. And then things that, so it's like, you know, be humble. And just because the media, whether it be um, you know, Fox or MSNBC, or you know, whatever, um, you know, that a lot of times these people are just trying to control you, uh, and stuff. It's like, you know what I mean, trying to control you, and they have pretty good techniques that they use. It's like in the UFO situation, they would, you know, anytime they would rarely talk about UFOs, and when they did, they would talk about it in a way that's like, this is ridiculous. Like, they would laugh, and so if you did believe in UFOs, you kind of, they have a way of like making you feel like you're dumb. And then the people that want to be taken, like, be looked at as practical, and you know, like they know shit, you know, they kind of want to disassociate from UFO talk, because the people with suits on the media look down on it. So they look, you know, so, you know, and nowadays it's, now that the news is kind of like taking it a lot serious, and you see the military like, yeah, we've seen stuff. And so it's like, we all have to be humble, and you know what I mean, not everything that, you know, not every idea that is crazy. You know, we live in a kind of crazy reality. Reality is strange, and there's a lot of things that we don't understand and we don't know, and we like to pretend we know. You know, so it's like, you have to have humility. You know what I mean? And not just kind of like, you know, and just, you know, believe what you believe. Like, who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, like, trust your intuition, trust yourself. Be open to being wrong too. It's okay if you're wrong. You know, so that doesn't mean you're crazy just because you're wrong. And it's cool. Like I fuck with people that take risks. You know what I mean? That that entertain ideas that you know that just don't have fear and just kind of like you know. So like yeah, like you know, be secure on what you believe. Don't give a fuck if people think you're crazy because you think outside the box. And you know, there's some truths that just some people just can't accept too. You know, um, so yeah, that's it. And if you're fucking crazy, who gives a fuck? Everybody's crazy if you ask me. Some people just ain't self-aware and don't realize it. All right, peace out.